What is up, everybody? My name is Logan Schroen. Welcome to CTF Schroen Talks Football. Today we're going to be looking back at last year's NFL draft. We're going to be looking at the first rounders, and we're going to be giving every single first round rookie a grade based on their rookie seasons. With this year's NFL draft starting to come into view, I feel like this will be a pretty fun video to look at. And also, let's just look back at every single first round and see what we thought of them before and how they are now. Like, things could change. So let's not waste any more time. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, turn on notification bells so you don't miss any of my videos whenever I post. All that out of the way, let's get started. Alright, let's start off with the first overall pick, and that was Caleb Williams for the Chicago Bears, and I'm going to be giving him a B+, and hear me out. I know some of you are thinking that he deserves to get an A, and a part of me agrees, but hear me out. I think it's because if you see my other grades I gave the other quarterbacks, it will make a lot more sense. Like, it's not really fair to give him, like, the same rating as some other quarterback that you're going to see later. But that's not me saying he was a bad quarterback at all. He was actually really good with how bad this team was. Like, if you look at his stats, 3,500 passing yards, 20 touchdowns, only 6 picks, a passer rating of 87. Like, that's not bad with how badly the Bears played all season. Like, they were such a piss-poor team. And the fact that Caleb Williams played that decent on that team is honestly a miracle. Just imagine how good he's going to be with a good team. So, yeah, I have him at a B+. I don't think he's a bad player at all. I just think there's a couple QBs better than him right now. Next, we got the second overall pick, and that is Jayden Daniels for the Washington Commanders. And you already know where I'm going to go with this. I'm giving him an A+. He absolutely deserves it. For one, he ended up being Offensive Rookie of the Year this season. 2, he had probably the best stats out of all the QBs in this rookie class, even though I think him and Caleb Williams are very similar. And 3, he led the Washington Commanders, a team that we had no expectations for. He led them to an NFC championship. How crazy is that? He's got a cannon of an arm. He has really good mobility. He knows how to run. And he's such a class act as well. Like, he's the quarterback that I would want on my team right now. Not only because he's the youngest and he's got the most years out of him right now, but he's also one of the most talented. Jayden Daniels is going to have a hell of a career. Alright, next at third overall pick, we have Drake May for the New England Patriots. And honestly, he has a fair rating, but I can't give him too high. I'm giving him a B-. He started off later than the other rookie QBs in this first round, but at the same time, he still has a lot of talent. He has a lot of potential. He did show flashes of greatness when he threw, but at the same time, he did show flashes that reminded us that he is a rookie quarterback. I think he's going to become a really damn good QB because I think he's going to improve his passing, and he can also run. Let's not forget that. But if we're judging off of his rookie year, he was good, but not like crazy good like Jayden Daniels. Up next, we've got Jayden Daniels out of the Arizona Cardinals. This might not be the nicest rating, but I'm giving him a C. He was kind of disappointing. With how insanely good he was in college, like with how insanely good he was as a prospect, you would think that he'd have the same numbers as some guys like Malik Nabers or Brian Thomas Jr. that we're going to be seeing later. But he was very underwhelming, and he was like the number one receiver out of that team. He was all they had, and he was not that good. He wasn't bad at all. Like, I'm not saying he's a bad receiver, and let me note you that this is based off their rookie years. These next 3 seasons, these players can completely change for the better or for the worse. In this case, I think he will change for the better. But based off his rookie year, like, he was really disappointing. He really didn't do much. I think he's going to improve as the years go on, but based off of his rookie year, underwhelming is the best way to describe his rookie season. Next, we got the first offensive lineman getting drafted here, and that's Joe Alt for the Los Angeles Chargers, and I'm giving him an A. He was the best lineman out of this draft class, and he was really damn good. Some of us question the Chargers drafting an offensive lineman instead of a wide receiver because the Chargers desperately needed a wide receiver, but thankfully the later rounds panned out as they drafted Ladd McConkey. He's also a really great player. But yeah, Joe Alt, he's a very talented lineman, and he held up against his own and against some of the best talent the NFL has to offer on defense. Like week 1, going against Max Crosby, he really held his own. And throughout all the season, like, he was very talented. He's one of the better linemen in the league at this point. So I think he's going to be even better as the years go on. I think Joe Alt was a really good selection. Next, we got Malik Nabers getting drafted by the New York Giants, and he gets an A+. Like, comparing Marvin Harrison Jr. to Malik Nabers, it's not even a fair comparison right now. Malik Nabers was an absolute tank. He's an extremely strong receiver. He's also a speedy MFer. And also, he's got some of the best set of hands out of all these rookie wide receivers. And he has such a great jump ball as well. I think he could be the next OBJ in the New York Giants. He's going to be an absolute demon. Up next, we've got J.C. Latham being drafted by the Tennessee Titans, and honestly, he gets a C+. He really didn't do much in Tennessee. I wouldn't say he's a bad lineman yet, per se, but if you say that he really changed the offensive line, he didn't. That whole offensive line was underwhelming, and that includes him. Like I said before, I've said this with every single player. All these players can improve or disimprove. Like, this is just based off their rookie season. But based off his rookie season, J.C. Latham was not that impressive. Up next, we've got the shocking pick of the world, Michael Penix being drafted by the Atlanta Falcons, and I don't know, this was a hard rating to give, but I ended up giving him a C+, and here's why. He didn't play enough for me to give him a super good rating, but also he also played enough to where I couldn't give him a rating at all. Like, I think C+ is a good rating for him based off his rookie year. He does have some potential, but there are also some times where I really didn't know if Michael Penix was playing like an NFL quarterback. But honestly, I think he's still got potential, and this upcoming year is really when he's going to prove himself. So for now, I'm giving him a C+, but he can definitely improve. Up next, we've got Rome Odunze. I ended up giving him a B-, even though he probably should be lower, but I give him this rating, and here's why. The only reason he didn't get the ball as much as he should, and the only reason he didn't have the stats as he should, is because he had to play behind DJ Moore and Keenan Allen sometimes. Like, he was getting overshadowed by two other receivers, so it was really hard for him to get the ball. But whenever he did, he made highlight reels out of him. He has a great jump ball. He has a great set of hands. He knows how to route run really well. I think he's a very talented receiver, and I think this upcoming year he can really show himself. Up next, we've got J.J. McCarthy getting drafted by the Minnesota Vikings, and I couldn't give him a rating because he got injured during the preseason, so it's not fair to give him a rating yet. Up next, we've got Olu Fashanu getting drafted by the New York Jets, and he's getting a C-. He wasn't good over there at all. I'm not giving him a D because he did show a little bit of promise in some of the games, but overall, he really wasn't that good. He just couldn't hold his own, and honestly, it's really hard to be a lineman in the New York Jets, but at the same time, if you're drafted, like, you have to be something worthy of a first round. He can definitely improve these next couple years, but if we're judging off his rookie year, well, add him onto the pile of bust offensive linemen. Up next, we got Bo Nix being drafted by the Denver Broncos, and I'm giving him an A, even though some people would say B+ or B. Like, he deserves an A. I know he didn't start off the season the best. We all saw it. We all thought he was going to be terrible, but the more the weeks have gone, the more he's improved. And plus, he took the Broncos, a team, again, we didn't have expectations for. He took them to the playoffs. Like, that's all you can really ask for, honestly. Even though they didn't look great in the last 2 weeks in the playoffs, like, they still made it, and that's a good step. Plus, if you did watch him play towards the end of the year, you could tell that he's also a really good quarterback. He's got a good arm. He knows how to run. He's a great scrambler. Like, he's one of the best scramblers in the league at this point. Like, overall, he's a very talented quarterback, and he's honestly the future of that team. And finally, they can say they found somewhat of a good quarterback, like drafting, because they just couldn't find success for a long time, but finally they did. So good job for Denver. Next, we got Brock Bowers being drafted by the Las Vegas Raiders, and I'm giving him an A+. Other than Jayden Daniels, he was the best rookie offensive player in this draft class. A part of me still questions why they decided to draft a tight end instead of an offensive lineman or a defensive player. But if you watched him play, you can understand why. He's a talented freak of nature. He was the second best tight end in football this season. He was extremely talented. He has a great set of hands. He knows how to route run extremely well. He's a great blocker. And plus, he is a speedy MFer, dude. He can really run. The Raiders have a very bright future when it comes to Brock Bowers. Everywhere else, time will tell. Up next, we've got Taliese Fuaga being drafted by the New Orleans Saints. And I almost gave him a B-, but I'm sorry, I had to give him a C+. There were times where he was a B Terrier offensive lineman. but there were also times where he did get exposed, and that kind of leads him overall being a C+. I do definitely think that he will be better and better as the years go on, but based off of his rookie year, he was not the greatest, I'm not going to lie. Up next, we've got Laiatu Latu being drafted by the Indianapolis Colts, and I'm giving him a B. I think he's one of the most underrated defensive rookies out of this draft class. He might not be the best defensive edge ever, but if you watch him play, like, he's still really talented. He's got great size to him. He knows how to get the ball extremely fast. And he's just really talented. Like, I think people are not realizing how good he is. If I had to make a bet for the NFL season coming up right now, I will give you this. I think Laiatu Latu is going to end up with 10 or more sacks. I think he's going to be really good. I just hope he doesn't get hurt this upcoming season now. But judging off his rookie year, he was extremely talented. Up next, we've got Byron Murphy II being drafted by the Seattle Seahawks, and I'm giving him a B-. I mean, he was pretty good. He wasn't the best defensive tackle, but he could have been better. There were times throughout the season, though, he did look extremely solid, but at the same time, there were also a couple games where he didn't look the best. I think next year he will really step up. But coming off his rookie year, he was alright. Up next, we got Dallas Turner being drafted by the Minnesota Vikings, and I'm giving him a D. He was extremely disappointing. Especially with how good the Vikings defense was this last season. Like, if Dallas Turner would have lived up to the hype, the defense would have been even better. But he was just extremely disappointing. He just couldn't get off the ball. He just couldn't get through the linemen, every single lineman he faced. He just was not good. I really hope this was just one of those rookie slump seasons, but like if we're judging off of right now, this was one of the most disappointing players in the first round. Up next, we've got Amarius Mims being drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals, and I'm giving him a C. He wasn't that good. That whole offensive lineman from the Bengals last year was really bad, but he just didn't help it at all. He was honestly part of the problem. There were times where he was getting heavily exposed. I think he will get better next year, I hope, but like if we're judging off his rookie year, yeah, he was not great at all. Like this whole offensive rookie class so far has been pretty underwhelming. Up next, we've got Jared Verse being drafted by the LA Rams, and he gets an A. He was an absolute demon. He was an absolute beast in the regular season. He was an even bigger beast in the playoffs. He won Defensive Rookie of the Year. He was one of the best players out of this whole draft class. The only reason he doesn't get an A+ is because it took him a little longer to like find his peak form. Like Jayden Daniels, it took him like a couple weeks, but as soon as he hit it, he was the best rookie out of the whole draft. But honestly, Jared Verse is extremely talented. He gets an A, borderline A+. Up next, we've got Troy Fautanu. I didn't give him a rating either, just like J.J. McCarthy. It's because he played a little bit of the first game of the season, but after that, he was injured the entire season with a torn ACL. It's not fair to give him a rating yet. Up next, we got Chop Robinson being drafted by the Miami Dolphins, and I'm giving him a B+. He was extremely underrated as well. He's one of the fastest defensive ends I've seen in a while. Like, he has a lot of speed on him, and he is extremely talented, not even including that he has one of the coolest names in the NFL. He has a lot of potential to be one of the best defensive players in the league, and with how the Dolphins were last season and probably this season, they're going to need that. So this was a really good defensive selection. Next, we've got Quinion Mitchell. I'm giving him an A. He was extremely good, man. Especially in the playoffs, this dude would stick to receivers like glue. It was super hard for a receiver to beat this guy. He was extremely talented. He was really good in the Super Bowl as well. He's going to have a very bright future in Philly. He's going to be one of the main faces of that defense. Extremely good selection. Up next, we've got Brian Thomas Jr. being drafted by the Jaguars. I'm giving him an A+. I know I almost gave him an A, but screw it, dude. I think he's around the same level as Malik Neighbors. I love Brian Thomas Jr. He's extremely fast. He has great route running abilities. He can definitely catch a ball on a jump ball. He has a great set of hands. He's one of the best deep threats in the NFL right now. Like, this was such a good selection by Jacksonville. I think next year he's going to be even better. Like with how good he was his rookie year, it's honestly scary to say how much better he can get. And I think next season he's going to improve immensely. Great selection. Up next, we've got Terrion Arnold out of Detroit, and I'm giving him a C. I don't think he's a bad player per se. But if you're trying to say he was the value of a first rounder based off of his rookie year, I would say no. He was probably like a third or fourth. Like I said, I don't think he was bad at all. Some games he was really good, but just like Marvin Harrison Jr., with how much potential he had, with how good of a prospect he was, like, he just did not play like a first rounder, just based off his rookie year. Next we got Jordan Morgan out of the Packers, and I'm not giving him a rating. I almost did, because there were times where he got hurt right away, and then he came back and got hurt again, but honestly, it's not fair to give him a rating right now. Up next, we've got Graham Barton being drafted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I'm giving him a B. He was extremely solid. With how badly the Buccaneers needed a center in this draft, like, they definitely picked up a really good one, so this was just an all-around good selection. Up next, we've got Darius Robinson. I didn't give him a rating because, just like a couple of the players I've already said, they got hurt right away, so it's not really fair to give them a rating. A lot of these players got hurt right away. It's been kind of a theme. Up next, we got Xavier Worthy, and I'm giving him a B+. That might be overrating him just a little bit, but if you watched him play, you would know how good he is. He was a little bit inconsistent at times, but at his peak, he was one of the fastest receivers in the league. There's really nothing else to say. This was basically the replacement of Tyreek Hill that they drafted with him, and honestly, he was really good. The only thing that worries me about him is his off-season stuff. Like, he needs to stay out of trouble, like, to keep playing, just like Rashee Rice. I can't wait to see him play with Rashee Rice this season. I think that's going to be a really good receiving core. But for now, like, I think he's going to get better too, but for now, I'm going to give him a B. Up next, we got Tyler Guyton being drafted by the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm giving him a D. He was trash, man. He was getting exposed week after week. He was also getting hurt a couple times. Like, he just was not good at all, man. And it's just a theme with, like, the last couple offensive linemen the Cowboys have drafted. Like, they just have not panned out, and this one just was a one big example. Like, he was not good at all. Up next, we got Nate Wiggins being drafted by the Baltimore Ravens, and I'm giving him a B. He was really underrated. Especially being side by side with Marlon Humphrey. Like, that's going to be such a good corner duo for the years that go on. Like, he's an extremely talented corner. He knows how to cover receivers extremely well. Like, I don't know what it is with Baltimore, but they just know what is right with drafting, like, defense. Like, they just know how to do it, and they've been good at it for years. Up next, we got Ricky Pearsall being drafted by the Niners, and I'm giving him a C+. I mean, he wasn't bad, but he did start off a little later, and when he did play, he didn't get the ball that much, but when he did play, he was just alright. He is a hit-or-miss prospect, but I wouldn't say he flopped in his rookie year. I wouldn't say he boomed either. He did play against two cancerous wide receivers, Debo, which was always hurt, and he was always causing problems. Ayuk was just filled with drama. When he did play, he was very mediocre, and he got hurt for the rest of the year, so he really couldn't get a shot. But when he did get the ball, he was pretty decent. Watch him next year. I think he will improve, but based off his rookie year, the C+ is probably the best rating I can give him. And finally, the last first rounder we've got is Xavier Legette being drafted by the Carolina Panthers, and I'm giving him a D. I think he sucks ass. I don't think he can route run. I think he has a terrible set of hands. I don't think he's a good receiver at all. Adam Thielen was their best receiver, and he's like 32 to 33 years old. And he's way out of his prime. Like, that's an issue if you're a first-round rookie receiver. Like I said, with all these other players, they can definitely improve. But based off of this rookie year, this dude was ass, man. Like, I almost gave him an F. Like, he was that close to getting it. And there you guys have it. That was me giving you guys my grade for every single first-round rookie out of last year's draft. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down below on who you think was the best first-round rookie out of this draft class. Or, honestly, out of the whole draft, who do you think was the best rookie out of the entire draft? Who do you think's going to get worse? Who do you think's going to get better? Let me know. In the meantime, that's where we're going to be done for today. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, turn on notification bells so you don't miss any of my videos whenever I post. I'm Logan Sharon. I'll see you next time.